Hi everybody, welcome to yet another video. This one is a quick look at the WS400. And I know I've done loads about the WS400, but it was what I was doing at the time was checking out the WS400 against the Series 2. And one thing that seemed to come up with people is obviously this is a relatively slow gun compared to some. Not compared to miniguns, etc., but compared to some, it's a relatively slow gun. And I've got a 1.5 version, I've got a 1.3, I've also got a 1.4 tip now. So I've actually got the 1.3, 1.4 and 1.5 HD versions. And what people are asking me is what's the difference between obviously the size, what difference does the tip make? And I thought, well, it'd make actually a good video to see what difference the tip makes. So it's the standard procedure. For those that have watched the videos in the past, I have two panels exactly the same, so you can see the speed difference over the panel. You can time it if you want to. You can look at the second coat, because the second coat is obviously the coat you're aiming for finish. It's a U-pole clear coat, this one, so well, the technical data sheet says give it 2 full coats. So the first coat is a full coat and the second one's a full coat, but the second one's more representative really. And you'll see that it makes a difference of about 14%. So the 1.5 being faster. Now, it's not always the case that because you have a bigger tip, it becomes, well no, that's wrong actually. It is normally the case because you have a bigger tip, it becomes faster. But it's not always better. For example, the Techno Pro Light, the T110 cap, which a lot of people will be familiar with, although I know in some states in the US you're not supposed to use that, but some people will be familiar with that cap. It gives quite a flat finish. And I find that if I use a 1.2 with that cap, it works absolutely fine, gives a really flat finish. Go up to 1.3, still a flat finish, but I don't think it's quite as good. Then you go to 1.4 and it starts to go off a bit. And I think that's just because there's too much fluid for that cap if you're using it on full fluid. Obviously you can back the fluid off a bit, but then there's not much point in having a bigger tip. You might as well have the smaller tip, unless of course you haven't got a smaller tip. So it's not always the way that you know, you'll get as good a finish but faster with the bigger tips. But certainly with this gun, which is not a fast gun anyway, it's not slow, but it's not fast by comparison to, for example, the Bel Area in the same 1.3 configuration. But the finish with these two is absolutely faultless. Now you'll see me holding the gun at a bit of an angle, and the reason for that, I won't go into it too much, but I got a Series 2 and there was a problem with it spraying. I discovered that I needed to do the tip up more, but if you angled the cap on the Series 1, which both of these are Series 1 guns, you got exactly the same performance as the Series 2, but it meant holding the gun at a slight angle. So that's what I've done. I'll put a couple of links in the description if you want to see more I'm on about as far as that goes, but I've gone into it in quite a lot of depth in the past, so I didn't want to go over it completely, but it just explained to you, if you've stumbled across this video, why I'm holding it at an angle. But it allows you to use these things with full fan, well, any combination you want, which wasn't always the case. But if you look at the two panels, you'll see that the second coat on the first panel, which is with the 1.3 tip, took about 36 seconds to complete, and the second panel I did was with the 1.5 HD, and it takes about 30 seconds. Now the finish, you'll see at the end, the finish is, these actually give a really good finish, especially in this what I would call a new configuration where you're able to use full fan. I often like a smaller, wetter pattern, but this gun seems to benefit from a big pattern. It makes it slower, but if you're after purely a good finish, a flat finish, and I know a lot of people will say, well, what other finish would you want? But sometimes too flat a finish, as I've said before, is not what people require. But if you're after a really flat finish, think about angling the tip on this gun, because it really does make a difference. But you'll see the second shot now, which is where I'm using the 1.5 HD, and it just flows out more material. The material's exactly the same. It's been heated up to exactly the same temperature. It's all done on the same day, which is 23 degrees Celsius, so there's no heat needed in the panel or anything like that. Everything was nice and warm. I heated the clear coat up to about 33, 34. Well, you'll see it because I've left it in. But they're exactly the same temperature, give or take 1 degree Celsius. So all things are equal, including obviously the painter, apart from the tip. And you can see that it does make the gun faster. So as far as the WS goes, it's actually quite a good mod. If you've got one that you know think is slow, it does speed it up, and I can't see that it's any detrimental effect at all to the gun as far as finish goes. So yeah, highly recommended. Another thing I wanted to say, sorry if I sound as if I'm rushing through this, but I'm quite aware that there's a lot I wanted to say and the video's quite short. But a few people contacted me as regard to the WS. In fact, 3 different people contacted me about the new WS, the Series 2 they've got. Now I've got a Series 2, but mine's non-digital, and another chap had an LS400 with exactly the same thing, and it's the coating is coming off. So I think there's a problem with these guns. They've not put them out in the US as far as I know, and the Americas, and they were due to launch in November, so I'm pretty sure there's a problem with them. There's another problem with the magnets as well, as a couple of people have said to me that they've got them and the magnets have fallen off. I did explain in another video, I've actually lost the pictures, so I say lost, I can't find them, so I can't like insert a picture to show you what I mean. But it's the plating on the outside of the gun. Obviously there's some corrosion underneath and it's lifted the plating. Now it's only digital ones that seem to have the problem, and the digital ones are made in Italy. As far as I can see, they're all made in Italy, and the non-digital are made in Japan. So I'm assuming that it's a quality control problem in Italy. But whatever the case, it seems that they've been launched in Europe, and then everywhere else has gone quiet. Yeah, so I just thought I'd let you know that. As I say, I've got no picture proof, but I have seen it, and it's literally just where aluminium corrodes, it goes white, and it's bubbled the chrome up. Anyway, here's the final result, guys, and I think you'll find it's I think you'd agree it's a cracking finish. This gun does produce a really good finish. No need to buy the Series 2 if you've got a Series 1 and you don't mind holding it at a bit of an angle. Just angle that around. And I realise that different tips do set in a different position, so some people need more of an angle than others. Anyway guys, thanks for watching the video as always. Keep watching them. Cheers. Thanks a lot. Bye bye.